Alright, this video is how to draw a line of best fit by hand on a scatter plot. So we have a scatter plot, and if we want to use that scatter plot to make predictions, we can be more accurate if we use a trend line to describe the data. This trend line is called a line of best fit, the line that fits all of the data. It's the line that gets closest to all the data points. I like to think of it as I like to think of the line as a straight railroad track, trying to get as close to every station as possible, the station being the points. So if we have this scatter plot, we see all those data points scattered throughout, and we can kind of see a little bit of a trend here, that they seem to be all over the place, but the ones on the right side of the screen seem to be a bit higher than the ones on the left side of the screen. That's not to say all the ones on the right are higher than all the ones on the left, but that seems to be the general trend, that they are going up and to the right. So if we think of all of these data points as train stations, and we want to draw a railroad track, a straight railroad track, to get as close to all the stations as possible, well, we wouldn't put the line up there because it's above all of the data points, so it's far away from those stations in the lower right. We can move it down here, and now it's closer to the ones in the lower right, but it's still kind of far away from the ones in the upper left. So we'd want to try to find it in the middle somewhere. So let's start over. What about here? Well, it still seems like we're close to the ones on the left, but far away from the ones on the right. So we can move it over. Well, now we seem to be a little bit farther away from the ones on the left and closer to the ones on the right. We're trying to find the middle, right? Getting close to all the points. And if we put our point right there, our line right there, it seems to work. It seems closer to all the lines. So ignore that first line. That second line is your line of best fit. Here's another graph. Exercise versus resting heart rate. So if we were to try to talk about what's happening here, it seems like the resting heart rate goes down the more times you exercise per week, according to this data, because the trend seems to be going from the upper left to the lower right. Notice that we have some sort of outlier way out there in the 12 times of exercise per week. So we can have our trend line over there, but that seems to be really far away from most of the data. It's close to that one and kind of close to 12 exercises per week, but far away from everything else. Let's try again. How about this one? Well, most of the data seems above that line, or to the right of that line. It seems far away from most of the data again. So if we put it like this, still not real close to everything, but pretty close. So we can think of this as being pretty close to the data, and this one also, very similar to the previous one. This is the actual line of best fit. It's the best we can do. Does it fit the data perfectly? No, it does not. But it gets pretty close. So when it comes time for you to draw a line of best fit through your data, it's not going to be perfect, but you have to try to find a straight railroad track that gets as close to all the train stations as possible.